Hey guys, this is Mistress Nightmare here, and today we'll be reading chapter 12 of Free Me, a Ben Drowned Love Story. Before we get started, please hit that like button, comment, subscribe to this channel if you guys want more creepypasta fanfictions out there. Until then, let's get started. I watched in shock as the broken gray pieces hit the floor like rain. I quickly ran to him. I grabbed a hold of his shoulders. Ben, what? Ben simply moved me aside and smiled down at Alex. I wasn't completely sure but why, but something about Ben's aura seemed off. Stupid human. Did you actually think I could be killed? Stay away from my sister, Alex growled. Ben just laughed and simply said, Elizabeth is mine. Alex's face contracted into anger. You don't belong into this world. You should have died all those years ago when you drowned. You goddamn abomination. That was the last straw for Ben. He took a step towards Alex, his fists clenched. It was really simple, actually. My little game with you and your sister was simply merely to pass the time, but I think it's time to fulfill my original plans. Original plans? Ben's eyes started changing color or become extremely intense until it had a look that he had smiled morph into something more sinister. Making this entire world mine. Ben's words scared me. In an instant, I could feel my body grow heavy, the air turn rigid and ominous. Shadows began to surround him. The sight was terrifying. I ran for cover behind an old rusted barrel as a wave of energy emitted from him as his feet rose from the ground. Alex cowered where he was. What's happening? I asked. Ben looked at me over his shoulders and grinned madly. It is dawn of the final day, Elizabeth. This wasn't right. This wasn't the Ben I knew. Ben turned away from me, and marvelous in his own way outside. I quickly followed behind him. What I saw terrified me. The sky started turning a ghastly purple. The stars were covered by a fog. High in the sky, there was something huge, suspended in midair. Something reminded me of the game my brother played all those years ago. And then I recognized its face. And I realized what Ben was doing. Ben, you have to stop. I tried to get closer to him, but with each step I took, I felt like I was being pushed back. Ben turned towards me with a frown. His bright red eyes had faded into black. You seem the way humans are, Elizabeth. You saw what they did to me, what they tried to do to you. It's time to make them pay for it. I noticed the trees surrounding the warehouse began to be pulled up into the air by their roots. Everything in front of me went from bad to worst. I couldn't make the entire planet pay for the crimes of few people, I yelled. Ben's expression was cold. Don't try to stop me. He raised his hand towards the moon. As he lowered them, the moon followed. Oh God, he was going to crash it. Alex ran outside and saw the chaos. He backed up against the wall and stared wide-eyed. The wind kicked up and blew gravel and dirt everywhere. I squinted and looked for cover, but I had to stop Ben. He was going to destroy everything. I slowly took steps towards him. I could feel the energy around him shove me back, but I fought it. Ben didn't notice that I was behind him. I felt like my skin was burning. My eyes were tugged, but I had to reach him. There's no other way. The moon grew closer. Each step like I was walking in quicksand. But if it leads to countless numbers of people dying, I knew he was being blinded by anger. Maybe if I could reach him. I was almost so close enough to touch him, but he was so focused and determined. He barely noticed that I wrapped my arms around his waist. I knew he couldn't feel, but he can see and he can hear. Ben, stop, I called over the chaotic noise. He clenched his jaw in frustration as he held his arms where they were. I told you to stay away, he said. I clung to him desperately. I can't let you go through this, please. Ben lowered one of his arms and tried to pry my arms away from him. Just let go already, Elizabeth. Never, I yelled, tightening my grip. What about your promise? I said, you wanted to see the world. You wanted me, together. And now you're going to destroy it all? Ben released my hands. The Ben you knew is dead. Stop trying to fight for something that no longer exists, he snapped. His words stabbed me. How could he say that? After everything he'd done, everything he hid from me, everything I saw. I could feel tears forming in my eyes. He was lying to me, and he was lying to himself. You're wrong. He's alive. He's right here, in front of me. My words must have reached him, even though just a small amount. His motions were hesitating. He took his arms away, and the moon froze in place. He seemed frustrated. Don't be stupid, Elizabeth. This is pointless, he yelled. Continued to wiggle away from me. Stop fighting me. Why do you keep on holding on? He turned towards me and tried to push me away by my shoulders. But I wasn't going to let go. I knew why I had to keep holding on. Ben was my best friend. I loved him, and I won't let you take him away from me. Ben froze. Elizabeth? I stood and held his face in my hands. And I still love him. Please, just please stop this. His eyes' color returned to the bright red. He lowered himself to the ground, and the dark aura around him began to fade. Elizabeth, A gunshot rang out from somewhere. The chaos stopped completely. Everything went deadly silent. Time seemed to slow down as my eyes drifted down towards the blood soaking my hoodie. I knew Alex had a gun, and the bullet that was now in my chest. Ben stared in shock, not quite believing what just happened. My face was calm, even though I was trembling from shock. I clutched onto his tunic as my legs buckled. Ben quickly caught me and held me up. In the distance, my eyes caught Alex. The gun was still in his hands, or being held in his shaking hands. The look in his eyes told me that it was an accident, that the bullet hit me. Then I saw him raise the gun to his head. I quickly closed my eyes and turned away as another sound of the gun going off rang through the silence. I heard his body slump to the ground. Alex, I whispered. Ben held my face to grab my attention. I turned to him. My heart sank at the grief-stricken expression. His arms held me tightly as his bangs fell over his eyes. I can feel something wet land on my cheek. It was a tear. Elizabeth, oh my God, what have I done? His voice was broken. Tears began to stream down his face. I never knew that he could cry. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. I'm glad. If you want more Ben Drowned love stories, check out the playlist that will be popping up soon. Also, if you want any more fanfictions narrations, please check out my other channel, Reading with Blade, which has multiple fanfictions up already. If you are interested in the yaoi experience, check out Tyler O'Connell's channel if you want to go there. But note that channel is only 18 and up. I've been listening to Tyler's stories and I'm addicted to them. Until then, bye guys!